Hi everybody, welcome to Shivers. Today we're doing a movie review on the latest Nun movie. The Nun II came out last Friday. I saw it this past Friday. The Nun II is the latest installment in a number of films that exist in the Conjuring universe. These movies include all of the Conjuring movies themselves, the 3 films in the Annabelle franchise, and now the 2 films revolving around the Nun. The backstory of the Nun centers around a demon named Valak, who is basically a shapeshifter and appears in the format of something or someone that you would trust. Infiltrating a nunnery, of course, the most obvious shape to appear as would be a nun. The presence of the demon turned the ground of the initial Romanian nunnery unholy, killing all of the nuns in an attempt to find a holy relic, the blood of Christ, which was said to be at this nunnery at this location. With the possession of this relic, the demon could gain huge power and control. In the first film, we follow Sister Irene and a priest as they are investigating this Romanian nunnery, and they come across the blood of Christ before the nun does. They use it to defeat the demon, or so they thought. The second film picks up as Sister Irene is in a new nunnery and is called to investigate the presence of the demon, as the Vatican believes that it is back and it was never actually stopped, since there are a number of priests and nuns dead along this very clear pathway. Sister Irene accepts the help of an up-and-coming nun, and they follow the breadcrumb of clues that leads them to Maurice, an adventurer and helper who was in the first film and inevitably got possessed by Valak, and has been used by the demon to find the next holy relic on the list, the eyes of St. Lucy. St. Lucy was a witch slash holy woman back in the day who was lit on fire but didn't burn, and was then killed by the pagans who carved out her eyes and saved them. And it's kind of gross, but they're in the little container. So the demon and everybody is now looking for this container of the eyes. This leads Sister Irene and Maurice to a Catholic boarding school where the eyes are said to be buried somewhere on the grounds. Many scary things happen along the way with the young girls at the school as they experience a number of supernatural visions and happenings. When Sister Irene arrives and confronts Maurice, all hell literally breaks loose and the battle between the demon and Sister Irene occurs again. Sister Irene and the others find the eyes of St. Lucy and use this relic to defeat the demon, with Sister Irene realizing that she is a direct descendant of St. Lucy as she's going through this battle. The school itself is a mess, and the demon appears to be banished back to hell, and Maurice is free and safe. The movie ends on a high note, but there is a mid-credit scene showing Ed and Lorraine Warren from The Conjuring getting a call and seeing the vision of the nun in their home, telling us that there is more to come on the nun's story. That is the background of the Nun 1 and 2, giving the Nun 2 some ratings. For the story itself, on a scale of 1 to 5, I would give it a 3. I think it is cool. I think it is a nice horror movie to watch. It's very easy to watch, but there's nothing too crazy about it. Originality, same thing. I would give it a 3. I don't think that there's really anything that's never been done before or totally new. It's all just kind of playing off of what was already established in the first Nun movie. For acting, I would give it a 3 out of 5 as well. I am not a huge fan of kids just running around and screaming and making a mess of horror movies. You're not doing any good by being there. So all of the girls that were in the boarding school, there is one little girl that is more of a main character, and she does a good job, but for the rest of them, they're mostly just running around and screaming when they see these things, and I think it takes away from a little bit of stuff. So, as well as the nun that is there to help. She really doesn't do much to help. She just kind of sees things, screams, and runs away, which I think is just really silly. For the production, I would give it a 4 out of 5. It is a big movie. It's a professional movie. James Wan was one of the creators, so you know that it's going to be good quality, but it's not Blumhouse, so you don't have a lot of those big scenes. You don't have a lot of the creepy things on the walls and stuff like that. So it is a good production, it's a professional movie. And the scares themselves, I would give it a 3.5 out of 5. It, you know at this point what the nun looks like and what the demon looks like. So seeing her down the hallways and behind people, it's not a surprise. You know what she looks like. So it's not overall that scary. Adding them all up, getting the actual score, I would give it a 3.3 out of 5. All in all, I did think this movie was good and was definitely needed to clarify the motivations and the true purpose of The Nun and the first movie itself. I rewatched the first one before I went and saw The Nun II, and it was very helpful to watch them back to back. But this movie was very helpful in understanding the purpose and the context of the first Nun movie. Being in one hallway and one location for the majority of this film made it feel a little small and a little silly at some times, but I thought it was a classic, fun, modern horror movie nonetheless. Many of the scares were expected in true James Wan fashion. You have some distractions, you have some scary elements that are only there for a couple of seconds, but I do think they were done relatively tastefully. My biggest hiccup with this movie is the logic gap. So the way that they defeat the nun in the end is all of this wine is spilling all over the floors, and Sister Irene and the other nun work together to bless this wine, and then the demon is defeated because she's standing in this wine. However, in the beginning of the movie, and even in the first one, we see her get splashed with holy water and she's affected. Knowing that the demon is back, one of the examples we get is that she lights this priest on fire. She goes into this church and lights him on fire. And when she's walking into this church, she boils all of the holy water, turns all the crosses upside down, and then you know something bad is coming. But if these pieces of religion are impacting her in all of these battles, and just for the sake of pronouns, her, I'm just saying, is referring to the nun, but I believe that there's no gender. Needless to say, all of these holy things, holy water crosses, are affecting the nun when they're in battle, but then she can just boil holy water and walk into a church no problem. She can stand in the wine and then get sent back to hell. That logic piece did not, I think, was a huge loophole and just didn't make any sense. And that takes away from the validity of the storytelling for me. But let me know in the comments what you think. If you think that that's just me being too detailed or too picky, I'm open to that. But either way, I would say watch the movie, enjoy it in line with some of the other movies in the Conjuring universe, and again, let me know what you think. That's it for our review.